Good afternoon, thank you for joining me. This weekend has been a heat wave, it's been horrendous. I think we're about to get a thunderstorm. I think it's literally about to hit us, so hopefully we'll get that on camera. It's just a little bit of rain just now, which was absolute bliss. So it's a good moment, I think, to film this video. So I've been thinking about doing a very simple little tag, just a short, casual, hopefully fun little video idea that sort of sheds some light and a bit of insight onto the style of fragrances we choose. And I thought it would make a fun tag. It's not going to be too complicated. It can be as complicated as you want it to be. This is about personality. So this is about how you choose your fragrance and what fragrances really do suit your personality. And I've simplified it in a way of just featuring 4 fragrances. Now, everyone's character has more than 4 facets, and we are a complex species. And on this journey of finding fragrances and having fun with it, it can get a little bit overwhelming. You find yourself with too many, you start to reevaluate what you have. I know I have recently. And start thinking about what really was you in the first place, what you loved, what suited you. I'm waffling on, it doesn't need to be this complicated. It's not by any means a pick 4 for life and throw the rest away. This is a just choose 4 parts of your personality that you think do influence your choice of fragrance, and then they can be the categories that you sort of have others fall into, perhaps. So it kind of almost simplifies different avenues, 4 different avenues. Make it as complicated as fun as you want. It could be, you go deep with it, talk about your personality in depth in 4 ways. You could just say, you know what, I like chocolate, here's a chocolate fragrance. So I do have 4 lovely fragrances sitting here next to me. I actually had a different one, a different category, which I switched up at the last minute because I thought, yeah, that's not where I want to go. I had a fragrance to represent my angry side, and I don't need to go down that avenue, you know. But I do have fragrances that I do choose when I'm in that frame of mind. Oh, look at that lovely breeze. So before we start, I'm going to tell you who I'm going to tag. There's 3 people, and I don't want to obligate anybody. So these 3 have already been made aware of the tag, and they're up for it, and that's fantastic. So I'm going to tag Jon Snow, Claire Smith, and Chantel Tiffany, and I can't wait to see what 4 aspects of their character they're going to choose to suit a fragrance. My first fragrance is one I've chosen to suit the side of me that is a huge daydreamer. I'm a head in the clouds kind of girl. That is one of the reasons I have trouble filming videos, because my head is searching through so many visuals and thoughts and memories, and I can't stay present, and I can't stick to a point. So when I do a video, there is a lot of video to edit because I'm going off at a tangent. I'll be sitting there just thinking, what the hell was I talking about? And it's really hard to stick to the point. I've got a massive imagination, which is great in some ways and not so practical in others. Very active imagination, I guess, is great if you're an artistic person, if you're very creative. Not so good when you're trying to study, trying to learn, being academic, when there's things on the page in place, you have to learn theory. I've never been very good with things like that. I don't want to go off into a tangent here. The point is I'm just very much a dreamer. Imagination land, everything is possible. But there's a fragrance here that when I sniff it, I just feel like I'm in the best dream. It's just the most ethereal, dreamy, beautiful, watery, floral. It's mainly a floral. So it's from the house of Louis Vuitton. This is called Heures d'Absence. Now this means absent hours, or hours of absence. This is just me in a bottle, feeling completely absent as the hours pass. This is just me on a cloud, in a daydream, thinking out all sorts of amazing fantasy images, all those fluffy ideals you have as a kid, as a 10-year-old. That's still pretty much existing in my mind most of the time. Generally, I can't remember the notes in this fragrance. I always go blank on them. And I think it's just because whenever I wear this, whenever I sniff this, I'm so focused on the feeling I have and the visuals going on in my mind that the actual relevance of notes and the technical part of its artistry is void, because I'm just swept away with it. So like I say, it's a very dreamy floral. That is how it is to me. There is rose in here. I think there's mimosa. I always assume there's lychee in this. There's such a beautiful, gentle, pastel, fluid, lychee feeling in this first spray of this. And it's not overly sweet. It's a floral It's a floral lychee kind of a feeling. But it's such a pastel scent. It's very, it's like, I always think of silks blowing in the wind, like different shades of pinks and light blues and lilacs and whites. Silky pastel rainbow of florals with the slight nuance of something fruity, which to me comes off as lychee. I don't remember what the fruits are. It's dreamy, it is beautiful, and I just honestly am so swept away when I wear this. It's actually my scent of the day. It's a very hot day, so it's quite a cooling scent. I would never wear anything that was too heavy. It's cooling and watery and dreamy and beautiful. So that is my Head in the Clouds dreamy fragrance, Heures d'Absence by Louis Vuitton. So this next fragrance represents kind of two sides of my personality, but it's kind of wrapped up in one. It's a side to me which is both very mature, but also incredibly childlike. And the mature side, I would say, is very much retro. The side to me that has old-fashioned values, old-fashioned morals, old-fashioned manners. The adult me now, I think, would be more suited to the era from when I was young. I don't know if that makes any sense at all, but I feel like I spent so long getting to grips with life that the adult me is out of touch with the present. Does that make any sense whatsoever? I don't know. My technical side never got past the Atari ST. Like, I'm still there, you know? So anything now, I just find so overwhelming. So I do have trouble adapting, I suppose, in this ever-changing world. And when I was young, people used to say that I was an old soul. This juxtaposition personality, like I'm very young in my ways, like I say, with this dreamy personality. Wow, did you hear that? I can be very childlike. Hence the dreaminess and the not moving past, you know, watching films as a kid and they're always stuck in my brain. But at the same time, I'm also very mature on the outside. It's very weird, very juxtaposition-ish. But there is a fragrance that I think really does encapsulate that side of me. This is from the house of Zoologists, and this is Nightingale. This was my first Zoologist, and man, I was so excited to get this because I love the brand, I love their concepts, I love their ethos with animals, and I've always wanted to own a Zoologist. So the Nightingale is a plum blossom rose chypre. So it is a chypre floral, and it does have that sharp, woody, mossy chypre style, which can come off quite sharp, very retro, not vintage. Vintage I think of as more these sort of much more heavy, powdery, from a different time. Retro is more from my era, like the 80s, 90s. Just think of it as more retro. But it has that quality, but there is such a playful, pretty pink quality from the rose, from the other notes. It has this, not exactly overly sweet, more like a sweet and sour pink berry. And the rose is definitely pink. It's a real lovely, I know I'm influenced visually. I can be very influenced visually, but there is definitely a pink smell in here. And that pink, playful nature that it has is offset so beautifully with the notes that create a chypre. It's almost sparkling and has a bit of an energetic side to it. When I started to get a feeling for it, I started to visualise this beautiful little pink nightingale. They're not pink, but this is my imagination. A little pink nightingale that's just been racing around the sky and it's landed in a tree. Its little heart is beating so fast. And you can get the feel of this little beating pink heart through the trees. So you've got this really pretty pink, vibrant, energetic quality, as well as this very sort of woodiness from the tree. So you've got all that going on in this really pretty scent. So it's not for everyone. Like I say, chypre isn't for everyone. I absolutely adore it, very connected to it. And like I say, it really suits that side of me, which is both retro, mature, and very childlike and innocent. So there you go, that is Nightingale from Zoologists. So my third fragrance represents the side of me that loves simplicity. Calm, simplicity, peace. The fact that I get overwhelmed, mostly around people, terrible anxiety, very introverted. I mean, humans are a complicated species. They have 1,000 thoughts, 1,000 needs. If you're someone who's a bit of an empath, you can absorb their energy, a bit like me, and you just get overwhelmed with other people, and you can't connect to yourself if you're with other people. I like things to be calm as possible. There's a fragrance here that really earned its stripes last year when I was in a really stressful situation. Against all odds, it managed to not exasperate anything. It managed to somehow keep me calm, keep me focused and centered, and it just was magic. Very simple, subtle, but still complex fragrance. It is from the house of Arquiste, and it's called Architect's Club. Now this is essentially a vanilla fragrance. And I have to be honest and say that, you know, I know vanilla is a very popular note. I mean, it's in most fragrances, and it's not my personal favourite. Vanilla-centric fragrances I find very boring. They don't give me too much to think about. They're just cozy scents. This one is so elegant, so unassuming, and it's so subtly done. A beautiful bourbon vanilla in here, and it represents kind of half the scent, because there's also a very aromatic side to this scent. The fragrance is designed to make you think of a gin and tonic, if I'm not mistaken. That is the drink that you're meant to associate with the Architects Club. Very calming, elegant, aromatic vanilla. The vanilla is very warming and very obvious to me. I think I do get maybe a slight gin feeling. It's not like a proper alcoholic drink at all. It's almost like this beautiful warm vanilla, which is not heavy, and it's very effervescent actually. It's almost kissed by a little splash of gin. Oh, listen to that. Now that is calming to me. That's really therapeutic. So yeah, it's like an equal parts scent. It's as much vanilla as there is herbal quality, but it's very subtle. It's not green at all. Everything is sewn together so subtly. It makes for a very calming and therapeutic scent. It's such an elegant, crisp, clean vanilla, and it's just perfect for keeping things simple and calm and collected and very composed. I love it. So that is Architects Club from Arquis. So my fourth and final fragrance represents the aspect of my life that I'm most focused on and enjoy the most. I find the most important in my life anyway. And that is just being around animals, understanding them, and just enjoying their company. I find that more rewarding and more valuable than anything else in my life. We all have a different meaning of life. That's mine. So my fragrance here just sums it up. It's the second fragrance from the house of Zoologists in this little lineup. So Zoologists is really winning at the moment. It's really fighting for top position with Nightingale as being a favourite. It might have even pipped it a little bit. When I say pip, excuse the pun. This is Chipmunk. So this is a woody, nutty, outdoorsy, slightly animalic, very warm, friendly, adorable fragrance. Adorable. When I first smelt this, I wasn't 100% sure where it was going to go, because some Zoologists can end up quite animalic or a little challenging. They're very complex scents, and they have a lot of different facets and features and nuances. This one luckily settles right down into something so approachable and wearable and delicious, and so at home wearing this scent. It starts off brighter. I think there's some fruits in the opening, a little bit of a sharp opening. The fruits and the animalic side, they just slightly clash, just a touch, and out come these lovely hazelnut qualities. This soft, actually quite powdery hazelnut, and quite dry. It's definitely a dry, woody, very pleasing, very reassuring and familiar woody, soft, dry woods. I'm not going to pretend to know the notes in here because my memory is terrible. I think there's oak, I think there's cedar, hazelnut and nutmeg. I like how this gets softer and softer the more you wear it. You definitely get I get like almost like a velvety, powdery feeling from the nuts and the woods. But I like how they still feel like they're subtly complex, because you've still got the other notes that are just sort of hovering around, doing their thing. Makes it interesting without being challenging. And I find it approachable and friendly. This is how I think of it. It's approachable and friendly. It makes me think of my pets in their hutches and when I clean them out. And I love cleaning out my pets. I've got guinea pigs, a rabbit. I love being with them. They're so entertaining, so enjoyable. They're the best company. So I guess a little bit of a sawdust feeling maybe perhaps from this as well. But clean. It's all clean. There's nothing dirty. Nothing too animalic. It always stays clean. So it has that quintessential feeling of being at one with my animals and being connected and just feeling completely myself. Absolutely love Chipmunk. So that is the beautiful Chipmunk from Zoologist, and that is my final fragrance. So I'll leave you with that. Really hope you enjoyed the video. Please feel free to do this tag. I would love to see others doing it. It's lovely to see what you connect to and what really does represent your choices in fragrance. Thanks for watching as always, and I shall see you on my next one. Take care, over and out.